What's up, everybody? You know what time it is up in the place to be. It's your boy T Wright. What's up, KP?
What it do? What's up? What's going on?
I don't know. But you know what though? It is a beautiful day. I like to say in the neighborhood. I'm not in the neighborhood. I'm not Mr. Rogers, but it's still a beautiful day.
It's cold.
All day, every
It's a
day.
cold day in the neighborhood.
Before we get the show started, how was your weekend? How was your
The
weekend?
weekend was good. I had 3 days
It is
off.
cold.
I had 3 days
Cold day in
off.
the neighborhood. So
Football ran
you
my
know
first
what they
game.
say when it's cold, gotta have food.
Listen, it was very cold. But had 3 days off for Veterans Day, and then the weekend, Sunday football ran all my pressures up, even though my Ravens was on a bye week. But we got some great football yesterday. I just chillaxed and began to work on my Thanksgiving game plan because I'm cooking. So it's all like a plan of action that you got to do when you cooking Thanksgiving. So I kind of began working on that so that way there's no surprises. And when I do my groceries this week, I don't forget nothing because we can't be forgetting stuff and messing up Thanksgiving. That's against the law.
Yeah, you can't do that with no Thanksgiving. Now you gotta be ready to go. You gotta be ready to eat some good food there, cause that food gotta be,
Mm-hmm.
that food gotta be on a whole new level out there in
Mm-hmm.
the streets. That's how
Yes.
the
Can
food
you say
gotta
how
be.
about them cow? Did you check on your cowboy friends today?
Now,
Are they doing all right?
I do want to say this real quick.
Uh-oh, you glitching.
I hate to put this kind of news out there. No, we trying to see what's up with those guys, but at the end of the day,
Guys, I think T Wright is having a little technical difficulty, so we're gonna give him a minute to gather himself so we can get back to it. And then there's me, the KP of Beyond the Airways with T Wright and Kendra. And I believe T Wright will be right back. I think he's having a little bit of a glitch. And I don't know if we live. Can y'all see me? Y'all, we are live. So hey people, this is the Kendra of the Beyond the Airways with T Wright and Kendra. And we will be right back momentarily. I think T Wright's having a few technical difficulties, but we're going to get those together because we want to be able to have the conversation with you guys. So we'll be right back. I would sing for y'all, but I'm not that great at singing, so. There
he
you
gonna
go.
come. The devil gonna come, and he gonna try to do a lot of stuff. But you can't let it win. You
You
can't let
can't
it
let it.
win.
You can't win. Come on, Wiz. We can't let the devil win. He is
We
back and
can't
we
do
can
it.
see
Can't
him.
do
He
it.
not glitching. Come on. I was getting ready to break out in song,
You
so
gotta. You,
luckily for you, you came back just in time because I don't know if the people was ready for the concert because I was going to give them one. I was gonna sing Whitney Houston's
you know,
greatest hits.
you gonna give them a concert? Go ahead. We need that
No,
money. We need that money. Go ahead.
mm-mm. I'm not gonna go viral for all the wrong reasons now. Oh
we
no. Mm-mm. But how about them Cowboys though? Let's talk
we
about it.
take it.
Did you check on all your Cowboy friends this week?
Ooh, man, that Matt McCarthy gave them that game.
I
I haven't.
mean, they're
I
gonna
have
run
not
McCarthy
checked
up
on
out
those
of
people.
Dallas. He keep making decisions
Those
like
people
that.
have not checked on us.
I mean, I'm just saying, yesterday was a great day for football. It was some. My blood pressure was up, and my team wasn't even
Man,
playing. We had Thomas Bartholomew Brady pulling it out in Germany, and football started out at 9:30 yesterday. Just football all day long, and then the Vikings, and they came back and beat the Bills, and then the Cowboys came and took a L. Now, when I went to sleep, the 49ers was losing. Then I woke up this morning and they done magically pulled out a win. I don't know what was going on yesterday. I just know there was some great football played. So, weren't wasn't mad at all.
I mean, it's crazy, man. It's crazy, crazy for them. But we do what we got to do,
This is true.
man. Well, we're gonna
So,
do this real quick. I'm gonna check in with our guests. So we got, how I go.
ooh. And we have lost T right again. So, I guess I am gonna have to pull out my Whitney Houston's greatest hits. But before we do y'all really want that? I don't think I really want that. Cause I'm gonna tell y'all a secret. I can't sing. Mm-mm. I can't sing. Mm-mm. Don't call on me to sing. Call me for the poems. I can do the poems. Or, don't even call me to dance. But put me down for the poems and to direct traffic as an usher.
This getting on my nerves now. It's starting to make me upset.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
How Mace how Mace said it. Mace like, man, I want my stuff, man. I want my. Oh, so I figured it out. Okay, I'll fix that later. All right, got you. Um, it happens. Technology can be your friend or your worst enemy. You choose which one it is. Or it's gonna choose for you, whichever one comes first.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. But this is a sad thing. I want that we have to report. I hate to have to report this. So a student is suspected in custody after three football players has been shot. And they say two people wounded from the University of Virginia, and
Mm-hmm.
it's really tough, man, because I did when I'm not gonna put their faces up on the screen, but you know, why would you have to do anything to take somebody's life? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
what really is, from what's trending right now, like why would that be anything that somebody would want to do? You know what I'm saying? What First of all, what did they do to you That's the number one question. What did they do to you?
Well, from what we can tell, it looks
Um,
like
you know what I'm
they
saying?
were
So
saints.
what what
I mean, just looking at the whole situation, there's no good reason to take a life. Let's just start there. No good reason, hard stop. Um, I think that being that they played on the same team together, and I think a few of them actually have ties to South Carolina, from what I was kind of seeing on social media. But for them to be literally in the prime of their life, like juniors and in college, like you ain't even really lived yet. Like you still in the party and in no uh true responsibility phase of your life. And this young man, from what I've seen, he the school had him on their radar of people to watch, regarding like threats and things like that. So I just think that, it's sad that, three families woke up, without their loved ones, and then, you have the school to be at school, and at 10:30 last night, you getting ready, you planning on what you wearing to Thanksgiving dinner, and then to have an active shooter situation and be sheltering in place until well into this morning, not knowing, what's to come. That is not fair, to those people of that campus. And I'm glad that he was caught, and I know that he will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, as he should, because there is no there's no good reason for what he did. And it's sad when, we like to highlight when people take our lives that don't look like us. But this was literally us taking us life. And that's not okay either. We cannot be loud about when other people take our lives if we are not equally as loud or not louder when we do it to our own community. So I'm definitely praying for the families of those victims. I'm praying for the students of the college. I pray that as they continue to dig and uncover, it looks like there have been several people that saw something and said something, but nothing came to fruition. And that's sad, because that kind of means that this could have possibly been avoided in some way, shape, or form. So we just got to do better with protecting we have to do better with protecting ourselves. And we cannot say, if you see something, say something. And then when someone says something, like there's nothing done. And there were multiple, from what I've seen, there were like multiple reports of people saying that, he said he was gonna bring a gun on campus, or blase or whatever. So whatever he said, I think that, that's sad. And if I was the parents or families of those victims, I would definitely want to understand why nothing was done. So so yeah, we're definitely playing for them. We had an election last week. We gonna talk about it. I'm gonna wait for T Wright so we can talk about it. T Wright gone again, y'all. Listen, Georgia, Georgia. I don't know if y'all hear me, but how y'all let Herschel get this close? I need somebody to respond in the comment section. How sway? I'm in confusement, and I need somebody to explain to me, how did Herschel Walker get to a runoff?
I'm
I'm gonna
having some problems.
we was talking about this here election that we had last week. Can somebody, first of all, it took us almost a week to actually get results, like a conclusion. So we know that the House will be Republican ran. We know that the Senate will either be a 50-50 split, with Vice President Kamala Harris being the tiebreaker, or it will be Democratic ran, because Raphael Warnock will win his runoff race in December. I need Georgia to explain to me how Herschel Walker made it to a runoff. And not only did Herschel Walker make it to a runoff, but Stacey Abrams just lost.
I'm gonna tell you how.
Explain it to me. I got my notepad.
Well, okay, so I'm gonna tell you how. I'm, okay, so Herschel Walker is the
Can't
same
read.
mindset as our ex president is.
He can't read.
The problem is
He can't read.
Republicans is okay with that
That
type
the
of
fact that he
behavior.
can't read. Have you ever seen that man try to read a teleprompter?
But that's the Republican Party.
Go
But the
ahead.
Republican Party, they like stuff like that though.
Here's the problem though.
They
Herschel
cool with
Walker
stuff
is
like
the
that.
only, if
They
you
like stuff
look,
like that.
here's the problem.
So
When you look
that's
at,
what they want though.
here's the problem though. I don't necessarily think that's completely true. And here's why. When you look at a lot of the Republican candidates that ran for governor and house that were Trump backed, 95% of them lost. So what that tells me is that there is a referendum against the Trumpism in the Republican Party, and people want conservatism, but not Trumpism. Herschel Walker is the only one that's left standing. And the only reason why he's left standing is because the people didn't vote for Raphael Warnock. They voted for the third party person. So that gave him the opportunity to do the runoff. Had there not been a third party option and they voted for Raphael Warnock, we would not have been here. And Herschel Walker would not be a topical conversation. So I do not believe this. Yeah, I'm middle of the road. But what I saw on Tuesday was not necessarily a vote for MAGA Republicanism, but it was really a vote against it. And the people in the Republican Party who ran, who did not attach themselves to Donald Trump, are the people that won. Look at Florida. Mark DeSantis is the governor. And you know him and Trump been beefing since 92. Mm-hmm. Look at it. So I think that we are in a space where the Republican Party is not with the Donald Trump shenaniganery. That's what I think. And I think that they voted against it. I don't think that Herschel Walker has a shot in hell with winning. I don't, because I mean the man can't read. I'm just saying. But I mean, Governor, we got our governor back.
So you
What
said
was that?
he didn't have enough hits. He got. Are you trying to say he didn't have enough hits? He got a little
Herschel
CTE
Walker
going
got
on.
CTE.
Is that
We
what you're
gonna
trying to
find
say?
out when he died. Herschel Walker got CTE. Y'all heard it here first. He got CTE. Allegedly. That way nobody tries to sue me. But we got our governor here in South Carolina. Gotta love
But
it.
I'm gonna tell you the reason why Stacey Abrams didn't win. Even though, even though um, it's a lot of black folks in Georgia, right?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't. They wanted a Michelle Obama black woman as a governor, and that's
Hmm.
not what Stacey is. She's very
I don't
powerful,
necessarily.
and
I don't
she's
necessarily think that.
very much understanding in her leadership qualities, and that's the reason why.
I don't necessarily agree with that, and I don't agree with that because when you look at the polling numbers,
Because if
black
you go
women
to
and
Midtown
black
in
men. No,
ATL,
no, no. It
you
wasn't.
you won't
It was
see as
not
many
the
of them.
black vote that did not vote for Stacey Abrams. What it was, black women and black men had Stacey Abrams on lock. Stacey Abrams did not appeal to the independent voter, and the independent voter came out and voted, and they voted Republican. So it wasn't us. We tried to get this in. But what this showed is the power of the black vote, but the power of the black vote is not enough. You have to be able to appeal to black voters. You got to get white women, and you got to get those independents who don't identify with either party, them non-binary voters. Them the ones that you got to be focused on. Them non-binary ones. They don't identify with either side. They just vote. Those are the ones that make the difference in Georgia. Those will be the ones that make a difference between Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker. So I think that this was a referendum on the Trumpism of the Republican Party. If the Republican Party was smart, they would start pretending like Donald Trump does not exist if they want to win, if they want control. Because if they keep putting up Trump crony people, they're not going to win. Because for why? And we've seen that. We've seen that in how they voted. We've seen Florida. DeSantis mollywopped. Now there was some gerrymandering and some chicanery going on, but he still won. Just saying. And it's back to just me. So what does that say to us, folks? Get out and vote. Vote for your interests. Don't vote for people that are just going to line their pockets and go home.
On the kids, yeah.
He back again. Boy, you was like the second coming of
I'm back
Christ, ain't it?
again. Yeah, it's something going on with the streaming signal, man, because it's like crazy. Like I've never seen it act like this before, and our guest is actually waiting. So we're gonna try to do this interview the way it should be. Um, so I'm gonna put a little slug up that I do apologize. We apologize for the technical difficulties because it keep coming in and out, stuff like that. But we're gonna do that. We're gonna try to go ahead and knock out the interview way it is. Goes again. Um, but the reality of it is on this situation is we want to be able to say, if you didn't get out and cash a local vote, say it again. Um, but we're not gonna keep
Shame on you.
our
And we judging you. You froze again. And we will be back after this commercial break. And it's just me again, y'all. The devil is really busy. So let's just pray over the internet streaming service because they is really cutting up real bad today. Hmm. Hopefully he'll be right back.
So we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna go straight into our guests real quick, um, so that way we can really get this thing popping and going. Uh, have our guest coming on, Mr. Scott Silverman.
Hi.
Hi, y'all.
How are you?
I'm well, thank
Hi.
you. How are you?
I am
How do you
well.
do, sir?
At least I'm connected.
Baby steps. So, Mr. Silverman, one thing that why don't you go ahead and first introduce yourself?
That
Tell
would
us a
make
little bit
crazy
about
sense.
you.
But it's been one of those shows, sir.
Oh,
I want
see, we can't hear you, honey.
Let me know when you want me to go.
Well, Mr. Silverman, you go ahead and you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
All right. Well, Scott H. Silverman's my name. That's how people can Google me. That's my brand. Live here in San Diego, California, America's finest city. home of one of the highest morbidity rates around fentanyl, unfortunately. We're in a border town. Grew up here, still here. I run a treatment center called Confidential Recovery. We work mostly with veterans right now who suffer from some form of either self-medication or addiction or substance use disorders. I'm also a crisis coach, a family navigator, an author. Just authored a book last year called The Opioid Epidemic, so it's pretty topical. And I do everything I can each day to help families get their loved ones access to the highest and best level of care. So that's what I do. And I work really, really hard on it each day. And I appreciate the opportunity to come on with you guys and talk about it, because part of the stigma about getting help is people don't want to talk about it. So I really appreciate the opportunity.
That is great. So you said that you run a recovery center there in California. So how
Correct.
long? What caused you to get into the I don't want to say the business, because it's more recovery is more than just a business, but there's a business aspect to it, obviously. But what inspired you to get into the treatment industry per se? Was there something that connected you to you personally?
Great question. And yes, the treatment business is not something I was on my radar. Over the years, I've been really involved with running nonprofits, working with homeless people out of work, people with barriers to employment. That was kind of my forte. And I got in the business about 10 years ago. And yes, it is a business. We take insurance, we're licensed by the state. And I really just wanted to raise the bar. I mean, unfortunately, treatment doesn't really work real well, but I don't know if it's treatment not working or people not being able to stay with it long enough because of the way the benefit structure is set up with insurance. So bottom line is I've been in recovery a long time. As a matter of fact, yesterday I just celebrated 38 years of continuous sobriety. So I've been sober probably longer than you've been on the planet. So
Just
Congratulations.
a little bit. Congratulations. That is a major milestone.
so that was a real exciting benchmark for me, and so you're right, for me it's a passion, but clearly I've got to pay people, and I want to bring experts in, and I want to keep people kind of in the seats, if you will, long enough so they can get the tools that they need to stay clean and sober in their own recovery. And we offer a variety of different modalities. We're an outpatient program, so it's different. They don't live with us, and we work a lot with professionals, law enforcement, attorneys, doctors. I help all the people now who used to put all my old clients in jail.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's kind of interesting. I have interesting insight. Plus, I'm also a retired unlicensed pharmacist. Let me let you think about that for a second. Retired unlicensed pharmacist. Kendra's going, wait, was he a drug dealer? Yeah, I was. She's smirking. I'll say it
I
for
was
you. My
going to say
daughter
street pharmacy.
correct. It was it was a cross border relationship that really is easy to make. So
Wow.
that was a long time ago, and I only bring that up because when I sit at the table with some of these so-called experts, it's funny how they talk about what we need to do to fix things. Well, right now 400 people are dying every day in this country behind opioids. 400. That doesn't include alcohol, methamphetamine, crack, marijuana, suicide. Those numbers take us close to 1,000 people a day. And, you rarely see leaders talking about it, except in the news when someone they know lost a child. And then they get angry about it, but nothing seems to happen yet. It'll have to, because right now when I started doing this, it was a plane crash every day. Now it's two planes. And my book just came out last year, and I've been working on it for 3 years prior. So just the last 5 years, it's gone from a plane crash to two plane crashes a day. And the way our government runs, if we had a plane crashing every day, they would ground everybody, flight attendants, the baggage people. You wouldn't be getting on an airplane until they figured it out. So we need to take a different approach to it. So that's kind of how I got into it, my own journey. I attempted to take my own life back in '84, and I got lucky. I got into a treatment program, and I've been able to maintain my sobriety with a lot of help, with a lot of support, a lot of love from my family. So I want to give as much of that away as I can. I work about 40 hours a week, and I still volunteer about 40 hours a week. So I get a chance as a person to kind of split it up and mix it up. But with my expertise in the field, I can also help a family in a different way than, say, just a clinician or just somebody in recovery, because I have a couple of different hats that I get a chance to wear. So back to you.
Wow.
Wow. What do you say to that, T?
I mean, the man is definitely changing lives, as he learned, really to change his. And one of the things that I love when you just touched on, substance abuse or how many and opioids, and you actually decided to write a book, the opioid epidemic. So touch on that real quick, sir.
It's funny, the title of the book, which is the book I'll be writing next year, actually was called, and I don't always discuss this because it's just kind of interesting information, but since you two look so cute and young, I figured you'll get it. And
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
we'll see. Well, not even sure or not. At least one of you are here. That you're all moving now. It's good. It was actually called "You're Not God. That Job is Taken." So
Amen
when
to
I
that.
started writing it, I got a co-writer and said, with your background, my first book came out, I don't know, 2011. It's called "Tell Me No, I Dare You." She said, you really have to write about this opioid crisis. So, she helped me with the research. We put it together. It took about 3 years. So next year I'm going to write the book, "You're Not God, That Job is Taken," and gear it towards a lot of political leaders and doctors and people that are suffering from a lot of self-pride and ego and, the ability to think they're God. So we'll make it clear that they're not, just by giving them some examples of what God does versus what they do. So the book was just really a journey to help put together tools. I've got messages in there from families who have lost loved ones. I have messages in there from families who actually nearly lost loved ones. And, I've got quotes from the district attorney, from the sheriff, law enforcement, different agencies. And it's really a roadmap, and it's interesting. I sent the book out to every governor in the country. I got 5 thank you notes, and I got one book returned saying, I think it was Philadelphia, and said, "Thank you. We don't take gifts." And it's a roadmap. It's a toolbox. It's a GPS. It's a compass. It's footprints in the sand of what we can be doing in America right now to deal with this opioid crisis. So I'm going to circle back later next year with some media and try to get the governors to pick it back up and see if we can get some leadership to take some strong reins on this problem, because it's not going to go away. I mean, I don't know exactly where you are in the country, but my sense would be you probably read about it in your newspaper, if not the newspaper, the radio or television, somewhere close to you. A group of young people went out to party, and over the weekend, and 6, 7 people died because whatever they took somehow was laced with fentanyl, which is a poison. It's not a party drug. Am I right?
That's true.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
think
we
that,
we just got done talking about that around Halloween because they were talking about
yep.
people were still putting it in like kids
Yeah.
candy and stuff, and that's why people was trying to say they didn't want to take their kids out trick or treating in people's houses and all this crazy stuff.
But I definitely don't think it was in the trick or treating candy. But I do think that when adults party for Halloween, that is definitely.
Yep.
I think opioids and fentanyl have become the new weed per se. I think that that is the danger of these drugs. And the thing about it is, the thing with fentanyl is you don't know it's fentanyl until
They doing
later.
an autopsy.
Until you need Narcan. So I think that is the danger of opiates, because the reality of the situation is there are people in this country that need them, and trying to balance the true need, or trying to figure out how to manage people who live in constant states of pain and things like that, versus people who pretend to be in some sort of pain so they can get the prescription so that they can sell them for $20 a pop, or whatever, or supplement their income or whatever. And we've reached a slippery slope. This, 15, 20 years ago, opiates were prescribed like Tylenol. Like, oh, you got a headache? Here goes some Percocets. Have a great day. Like, and I think that was probably part of the problem, part of the reason how we got here. We just skip over everything else and just went straight to that because it was easy. And now that we have a problem trying to figure out how to undo what we've done is definitely something that we have to look at, because people are taking it, they're stepping on them, adding a little fentanyl, people died, and that's terrible. And so we definitely have to figure out how to address it, how to meet the needs of the people who do live in a constant state of pain, and figure out ways to weed out the people who just want to be illegal pharmaceutical representatives for the streets. So yeah, there's
Unlicensed, of course, because
unlicensed. There, I don't have to use the unlicensed
I
pharmaceutical.
like. I'm not gonna be the one say I done it, but I like that because
I ain't never
somebody.
done that because I'm too scared of prison. That ain't never been my calling. But I mean, I might know a person or two that might be unlicensed pharmacists. But hey, weed is not legal here in South Carolina yet. Um, but I think that we're definitely in a space where we have to start looking at it, because there are so many people that are losing their lives, um, and it could be prevented. Now, I do have a question for you. So, when it comes to sobriety, and walking through, I think we all know one person at least in all families that battle with some form of addiction. And what are some tips for the family that you can give us that we can share with our listeners? How can they be supportive when the person is not quite ready to admit that they have a problem?
great question. So, a couple things. First of all, I believe that what I have is an addiction. It's a disease. And with a disease, you don't get a choice. And the greatest comparison I like to give is diabetes. Nobody wakes up at age 3 when they jump out of their diapers and go, I would like some diabetes, please, and a small dose of addiction to something like alcohol. Would you mind, mom and dad? Give me one of both. So, if you think about that, when somebody suffers from diabetes, the family rallies around, let's get you to the best doctor we can. Oh, I don't have benefits. It doesn't matter. We're not going to let you suffer. We'll find somebody who owes dad money and they'll take care of you. And we do that. But when it comes to addiction, it's there's shame around it. There's a stigma. If you don't pick up a drink, you wouldn't have a drinking problem. Just tough it up and don't put anything mood altering in your system. And those are all trigger words for somebody who suffers from self-medication, for whatever the reason. They have the disease, they have pain, they can't sleep, or they sleep and they can't wake up. So it's important for families to get educated, number one. Number two, it's important for families to listen. There's nothing worse than when families get together and I call it the finger of shame comes out, and you should stop this, and you need to do this, and if you didn't marry what's his name, you never have this problem, and if you'd studied in school, if you didn't wear those tight skirts, whatever. Those are all things that don't really embrace and don't send love to the person you care about. And the person that you care about that's got the issue, they're embarrassed. They suffer more than likely from low self-esteem, high levels of insecurity, and they're kind of ashamed that they have to get up in the morning and take a pill, or they've got to drink something during the day. They may not think about it while they're under the influence, but before they do, when they look around the room and they see the beer cans, or they see the mess it's made, or they see family members who moved out during the middle of the night, they know they're in pain. So we have to be careful. We have to treat them like we would somebody else who has a heart disease, a lung disease, a broken leg, and not condemn them or judge them. And I think once you get that going, you can listen better, more effectively, and with love in your heart. God gave us one mouth and two ears, so listen. And from the listening, you can create some motivation, in my opinion, with the person who's suffering the most, which is generally the person who's consuming something, to eliminate the feelings that they're having, good or bad, sad ones, happy ones, doesn't matter. When you're self-medicating, you don't always do it because the stock market went down. You do it when the stock market goes up, or it's a sunny day or a cloudy day. It doesn't matter. If you've got this disease, you don't get a conscious choice. Does that make sense?
That makes 100% make sense. I think that when it comes to listening, I think sometimes you have to listen to understand and not listen to be right. I
Or
definitely
to judge or control or think you're
right.
smarter. somewhere else.
Absolutely. You have to, and sometimes you just have to hear the heart of the person to understand where they are,
Yep.
and not to hold your position in judgment. So
When I hear a mom say to me, I have been telling my son every day not to drink. And I go, how old is your son? She says 42. I said, so how long you been doing this? Well, since he was 18. So my next question is usually, well, how's that working for you?
it's not.
Let's change something, mom, because clearly Junior has already figured out how to work around your isms,
He
and
doesn't hear
mom's been
you.
suffering right along with him all those years. And it's funny when they say, I got your phone number 6 years ago on TV and I was going to call you, but I didn't want my son to find out. So I said, what have the last 6 years been like? She said, they've been the worst of all 24 of them that I've had. So let's do something. Let's move quickly. I don't like, and I'm easy to get a hold of. I'm going to give you my phone number right now, 619-993-2738. 619-993-2738. And I encourage people to call me or text me or Google me, Scott H. Silverman. And you know what? If you have a family member who's suffering, I mean, I'm in San Diego, you may be in South Carolina, you might be in Alaska. If you can't find an answer within your community, whatever that's defined as, call me, text me, and I'll help you do what I can to find some new direction, redirect you, or point to some things on the websites that'll help you get through the next steps. Because there is hope and help.
Absolutely. I think that's amazing that you are always willing to lend a helping hand, even if they aren't local to you. And I think that sometimes when it comes to addiction, there's so much shame around it that you don't want to reach out for help for fear of being weak. And that comes from both the family and the person battling the addiction. So to know that there's someone there that's willing to, lend a ear and point you in the right direction without judgment is, from someone battling a disease, that would mean all the world to me. So thank you for standing in the gap in that space, because I'm sure when people watch this, they'll be able to hear your heart and your sincerity in that.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and I mean, and that's one of the biggest things that I really appreciate too, Scott, because I know for a fact I used to be like really crazy on them intervention shows that came on A&E, and I remember like a lot of people, and I have family members who went through the other side that they don't get shown on shows like that. And the hardest thing, a lot of it, like you said, put judgment on them so they don't do it. And then unfortunately, I've seen the other side of it, and then I've seen them recover. I've seen the better side of recovery. So I'm actually gonna put your number on the screen real quick so they can actually have it, um, and they can actually reach out to you as well.
Don't threaten me. Just put it up there. I look forward to my phone ringing. Because when I see a strange number in my phone, you know what it means to me? Somebody's asking for help. And three of the hardest words in the English language are I need help. And people, I get criticized all, why would you put your phone number? I said, well, you can't make an appointment for a crisis.
You cannot.
And as a
Yeah.
crisis coach, yeah, I bill by the hour, but I always take the first call free. And if somebody wants more help or more time, we'll work something out. But at the end of the day, calling a crisis hotline is helpful as well. I mean, the government just set up, I think it's 988, the federal
Hmm.
hotline for people who have mental health issues. And they're trained clinicians, and they have some who have lived experience, but I'm not a clinician, I'm not a doctor. So when somebody calls me, they go, well, I'm really not. I said, you know what? How about this? How about you shut up and I'll talk? And they're like, wait, what? What kind of family navigator are you? I said, the kind that works. Well, why should I shut up? I said, because I don't need to hear what you have to say. You've already given me your story. Now let me give you some suggestions, alternatives, and options. Oh, okay. So it's not a matter of not wanting to listen. But I know I know what they're going to tell me. And if they call me when they're drunk, we have to reschedule the call because I've been there, I've done that. I don't need to hear that you tried to fly off a 40-story roof, and luckily somebody tied a rope to your foot. You couldn't get off. We'll talk about that in the morning when you wake up, because I was on a 44th floor when I tried to jump out a window, so I get it. And I've been there and I've done a lot of stuff. And I go to meetings. I go to 4 meetings a week still on Zoom, which is great because I'm ADHD. So seeing all those Hollywood squares and watching people make breakfast, cook coffee, do their clothes, talk to their dog, talk to their cat, watch their bird fly around. And it's very entertaining for me. And I have an 8-second attention span, so I get a chance to see everything. And when we have 40 people in a meeting, it's like, this is better than television. Netflix ain't got anything this exciting going on. And now that the midterms are done, I've got all this free time to try to breathe and hope that I was just listening to your comments earlier about Georgia. So, but I don't want to get that started for you. We got our own problems in California. We can't get votes counted anyway. So, I'll do what I can to be a resource. And look, and if I can't, I'll tell you, look, I don't know. But I just don't know. And when people say, what do we have in our community? I won't know what's in your community, but I'll know where to go to get the questions asked and hopefully where the answers sit. So There's all kinds of different options. And a lot of people just don't know there are. They don't know how to navigate this problem, which to me is fascinating. Right now, according to data, 1 in 5 families is impacted by somebody who's under the influence of something mood altering. 1 in 5.
Wow.
And then with legalized marijuana coming, it's probably going to be more like 1 in 4. So get ready. Fasten your seatbelts. What else can I tell you?
I mean, the biggest thing for me, just from a person that's seen family members with addiction and what you're doing is special. Um, what's one of the things that, and Kendra kind of touched on it, but what's one of the things that if someone is really in denial so bad, how would you explain to them understanding their rock bottom that they can get back up? Because most people don't think they really need help if they never understand that they're at their rock bottom.
Well, when you're talking to somebody who's suffering from the addiction, here's my best and highest advice. You look them in the eye, not when they're under the influence, because that's a time that they've decided they want to be somewhere else. And you look them in the eye and you say, hi, I love you. I am scared for you. I am uncomfortable. I'm willing to do whatever I can to help you. How can I help you? And then you just stop talking. And they're either going to say, you're nuts, you've got it wrong. Or they're going to say, what? Because more than likely, that's not the way you've approached it in the past. It's like, you got to stop doing drugs. You can't keep drinking and driving. That heroin's going to kill you and you're going to lose your children, or, you've already lost your job. And those are the things that in an active, addictive, compulsive, obsessive mind, the whispers in the ears are somebody with a megaphone going, excuse yourself, go to the bathroom, put something else in your body. Wow. So you start with that. I love you. I'm scared. Help me understand how I can help you. I mean, who is going to get angry with that? And that by you changing that conversation, you're going to shift that person's thinking. They may get up and leave the room and not come home for a couple of days, but you know what? That was their plan anyway. They're setting it up in a way where they're going to tee it up, so you're going to react, which is going to give them justification to get up and do what they want to do. One of the things families ask me all the time is, how do I know if my child's telling me the truth? And I said, there's 3 things an active user or abuser is doing really well: lying, cheating, and manipulating. 3 skills they're just excelling at. But they said, well, what the question though was, how do I know if they're telling me the truth? First, I say those 3 things. Then I say, if their lips are moving, they're lying.
Wow.
And you know what? Everyone agrees. You're right. So we have to be careful as the loved one to not buy into that and not react to it, because that's part of the family disease. Is the codependent hears that and they want to fix it, and they can't fix it. It's not something you can fix. It's very opaque. And then when you remove the anesthesia, the mood altering substances, now you have to work on all the underlying things. the mental health issues, the anxiety, the depression, the sleep deprivation, the untreated trauma, the PTSD. So it's not a weekend seminar. It's not a series on TV, and there's no vaccination for it. And I'm going to give you a couple of quick facts. The average person who goes to a 28-day treatment program, 28-day was kind of the traditional time insurance companies always used to pay for. It's now cut in half. If they do nothing after they leave treatment, there's a 95% chance they're going to relapse.
Wow.
95%. Now, I
Wow.
work in an industry that's about a $45 billion industry, and it has a documented 95% failure rate. Because when the benefits sunset, your insurance runs out, they go to meetings or don't do any more drugs. You just learned how to not. No, you didn't. You were in a structured environment, no decision anxiety. They gave you the medication the first week to detox, and everybody else there talked about all their tips and tricks. So you probably left there, addicted to something new or a new path or options when you leave. And a lot of people don't go to outpatient programs. A lot of people don't engage in recovery programs because they feel better and they're sleeping now and they think they've got it, and that's why the failure rate becomes so high. Now, many will come back in the program, hopefully, but that's a statistic that's even more scary than most. Any business that had that kind of failure rate wouldn't be in business. 15% of our country has an active addiction issue that will erupt over the next 12 months. 15%. Of the 15%, 10% of those will seek help. And of those 10%, if they don't continue the treatment, 95% of those will relapse. But here's a fact that becomes even more scary when you start to think about it. Each one of those 15% that are walking around untreated, okay, or the 90% that chose not to get help, impact 7 people each day negatively.
Wow.
So if 15% have the disease of addiction and 70% are being impacted by their behavior, that's 85% of our population.
That's touching it.
So
That's crazy.
if we don't treat this like we did COVID and get real time data coming in and giving everyone the tools and access to help and maybe even free treatment, if you will. I mean, free treatment probably put me out of business, but you know what? What an honor.
Right. That'd
An
be
honor.
it'd be good
I'd
to not be
rather
needed. Right.
I'd rather be driving in my car knowing that everyone around me probably is sober versus now driving around people, looking at their phone, smoking marijuana, taking Oxycontin. I mean, it's a scary thing. And I only put all that out there because people like, it can't be like that. You know what? Google it. CDC, HIDA, NIDA, all of the agencies will tell you, the DEA, the DOJ, go onto your local drug and alcohol behavioral health website in your community. This data is there. And to think that every mayor, every governor, legislative leader, every thought leader, every faith-based leader isn't talking about it. Doesn't have to be every day, but it's like obesity. Look how that got out of control, and look at tobacco. That's an even more graphic example. And the people who helped the marijuana industry learn how to distribute marijuana was the tobacco industry. So you've got all those negative influencers now helping champion a new drug that's all over the place, and soon the feds will probably make it legal. And I'm torn about it because I think it's a great tool for medical purposes. But kids who are smoking marijuana with 80% THC and they're in their teens, their brain's going to stop developing. Anyway, so any good news I could share is yes, there's hope, there's help, there's treatment, and there's knuckleheads like me that are walking around clean and sober and willing to share anything and everything I can to help another person.
Well,
Well, I want to be the first to say thank you for being so honest and transparent with your journey, because I think anybody watching this that is dealing with an addiction would see you and see hope for themselves. So thank you for that. And thank you for being so unapologetic and sharing, because and being the example of what can happen if you choose to seek help. So thank you for being a service to your community. Thank you for speaking and trying to get the information to all of our governors, so that way that they can chart a path forward for the people that they represent. You are definitely doing the good work, and you are in the fight, and we appreciate you for that. So thank you there.
Yes, sir. I mean, I appreciate what you're doing and how you're helping everybody out. Man, you have no earthly idea how many families you've already impacted, but you're gonna be impacting a whole lot more. That is for sure.
Yeah,
Well,
Kendra, I like the way Kendra said I want to go first and tell you, but you had a 50-50 chance of going first because Trite wanted to see what you said first. So Trite, next time you go first and let
You
her
go
go second.
first.
You go first.
we can like
Yeah.
open. You can go first, and you can go first,
You
and
can
you
go
can go
first.
first.
You can go first.
But
Let me
most
be
definitely,
first. There's only two of you, for God's sake. I love that.
Rock, paper,
but
scissors.
There you go.
I lost. but but we definitely appreciate it. I want to put your number up one more time to let them know how to get in contact with you. Let them know exactly all your contact information one more time as we get ready to wrap up the show, sir.
Okay, phone number's there, but if you're not watching the screen because you're making dinner or you're rolling a joint off to the side because we got you all excited, just call me, text me, 619-993-2738. I'm in San Diego, so just know that if you call me at 4 in the morning, I'll get a voicemail, and I'll get you when I get up. Go to yourcrisiscoach.com, yourcrisiscoach.com, and Scott H, my middle initial is H, Silverman, silver like the metal. You can find me on the web anywhere. Just Google me and reach out, and let's have a conversation.
Guys, do not allow this opportunity to pass you by, because not only is your life impacted, someone life that you know is going to be impacted as well. And if you don't have that information, or you just bypass it and you can't remember, send us an email. I will find a way to get you in contact with them just as much, because we definitely know that your life is not only your life, but somebody else's as well. So,
Well said.
guys, we're gonna get ready to wrap up tonight's show. I want to apologize for the technical difficulties. Don't blame it on my heart. Blame it on Verizon. But we definitely appreciate you, and we definitely love every last one of you guys. Um, and hey, you know how we get down. KP, go ahead and let us out, baby.
This has been the dopest 45 plus minutes of your week with Beyond the Airways with T. Wright and Kendra. We will see y'all next week, and I will not be singing. Y'all have a great day, y'all.